I always wanted to do something, coming from somebody that lived on the other side of the law for so long. When I rededicated my life to Christ, I had this passion to try and do something, give something back to the first responders, but didn't have a platform to do it, really. But what spurred all that was anybody that was over the age of 25 can relate to this. I mean, you remember exactly where you was and what you was doing that day our towers were struck. I haven't met anybody that says, oh, I can't remember what I was doing that day. Everybody remembers what they were doing that day. And for me, myself and my wife, we was working at a company out in Phoenix that handled all of the long-distance directory information for AT&T. If you remember back in the day, if you wanted a long-distance number, you'd have to dial 555-1212, and that's how you got your number. Well, all those calls came through our call center. I mean, everyone in the country. So on that particular morning, 9 o'clock New York time was 6 o'clock Phoenix time. And so right before my shift was about to get over, the first tower was struck. And I can remember that it's like our system crashed, and it never happened before. We couldn't, because we got so inundated with calls. I mean, every mom, dad, uncle, aunt, grandma, grandpa in the country trying to get through to New York City to find out if their loved one was okay, especially if they worked in or around the towers. And it was overwhelming because all of the operators that were on the floor, my wife was working a day shift, and she normally worked like as a manager, but they called her, it was like all hands on deck. And all of these operators, probably like 350, 400 operators, were taking these calls and trying to console these people. You had telephone operators all of a sudden becoming counselors, Some even prayed with them, because everybody was just frantically trying to get a hold of their loved one. And it was it was just pure pandemonium. My wife said that the one that haunts her the most was this lady that called in, and she just screaming because she could swear that young man that she just saw fall from the tower was her son. And it was a moment that changed my life, and it changed this country. It changed the way we view the world. It changed how our government governs. It changed everything. And then whenever I left work that day, I lived right there in central Phoenix, about 2 miles from the airport. Very, very busy area. 8-lane roads, usually planes overhead, bumper-to-bumper traffic. But when I left that day, it was like Phoenix was a ghost town. There was nobody on the roads. There was no planes in the sky. And you just knew that nothing was ever going to be the same again. And that was the most eerie feeling. It was a very, very dark day in America. But you know what? September 11th was a dark day, but September 12th was one of our brightest. Because on September 12th, there was no Republicans, there was no Democrats, there was no black, brown, red, whatever. We were one people, one nation, under God. We united, we came together, and everybody just rose up to the occasion. So it was absolutely a moving thing to see.
And amen. One nation under God, right? Amen. Thank you, Lord.
But then another thing too is a little bit after, later on that day, we started hearing all the reports. You asked me as far as what motivated us to do Freedom Fest. Well, the part that really motivated me to do Freedom Fest was later on that day, we started hearing all the reports of the firemen and the police officers that rushed into these burning buildings and willingly gave their lives. I mean, hundreds of them. And you have to ask yourself, I know I did me, I asked myself, could I do that? Could I do what those guys, those men and women did? And then shortly after that, the thousands of men and women that rushed to the recruiter's office to join our own forces to go overseas and fight the enemy that committed this atrocity. Again, you have to ask yourself, could you do that? And the sacrifice these people paid, and it's humbling to be able to give back and have any part of, like I said, the Freedom Fest or any kind of activity that honors our vets and first responders and lets them know how much we love and appreciate them.